going to be all about letting go. How do we let go? How do we just give up that tight hold on things and just learn to be at peace with letting things go, whether it is in, any area of the life, right? Like, how do we let go of old perceptions, old paradigms, old, old patterns and behaviors and belief systems? What do you think about that today, Sandy?
I think that letting go is so important because what we're really saying to ourselves is if this situation or this mindset I'm going through or these questions I'm going through are not moving, then I'm holding on to something too tight. And I just need to step back and let the whole bundle go, and then start asking questions about what's really bothering me in this situation. If we use a business situation, which all of us could do, of whether it's a friend at work or a couple friends or a boss or just how your whole day works at work. Only you can change that by letting go and then restructuring it. And then the other side of that letting go is most of the stuff that we hold on to, it's none of our business and we don't have any reason to hold on to it.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Why would we hold on to something at work that we can't influence, we can't talk about, and we already know it's a shutdown thing? Don't keep holding it on like it's going to change. Oh, this will change.
Right,
I can influence this. No, you can't.
Right.
You have to let it go and then say, now I need fresh material. And that's where you go into your own heart and soul. You talk to a good friend and say, I'm letting this go. What do you think? Do you have any pointers? Letting go feels so empty to me or leaves me like I don't have control. Bingo, you don't. So that's a good thing. So letting go.
How do you even recognize though that you're even holding on to something? You know what I mean? Like this scenario at work, right? It's normal to gossip. It's normal to talk about till.
But how do you feel about it?
That's what I mean. So the indicator is like if I'm feeling like shit, then I must be holding on to something that's definitely not mine and nothing I can do
to change it.
So the first noticing is like, wow, why do I feel so off? Why won't this topic just get out of my head with like all the mind chatter and the hamster wheel of never ending? And I keep bringing it for front and center with sharing it with everyone, right? And trying to get their agreement, right? It's a old belief system every time you have to get somebody's agreement.
Yes.
Right? So that noticing of how am I acting this out? Why do I feel the need to talk about it till, it's like beating a dead horse, right? Like sometimes you just can't let go. And that's when you need to let go. Like it's imperative you let go because you won't be able to see beyond it.
Right. And that letting go, like I said, feels empty, but you need to be empty so you can refill. But now you're going to use your own choice and your free will and say, how can I interact with my friends? If it's at the water cooler, which used to be that series about we'll meet at the water cooler, or there's Xerox machine, and then you would talk about, just say, oh, I just came to make a few copies, I have a project. And you start to make ways to get out of things that are kind, but you're not there for 15 minutes because what the bottom line is, no matter what your it is all about creating the new, but we have to throw out all the old, practically all of it. So if we're going to do that, we have to begin to realize I'm going to have to shortcut some of these things that I used to think were normal, even though I didn't feel good about them. I thought, well, they'll think that I don't like them if I don't participate. Well, it isn't even about that. It's about just making a decision like, no, you're going to get on with your work, so you're just going to leave it and make it as kind as possible, but you don't have to explain anything.
Yeah, and slowing down and giving yourself some space and some time to get the clarity instead of like regurgitating that whole story. You're never going to get your answer or your solution, right? you gotta slow it down so you can even see like what really needs to be let go. What can I change about myself to show up differently, right?
Right.
Like how do you see in this whole mix of crazy, like where am I?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like and that's the whole point of letting go is let me get my bearings, let me get my truth. Your truth can't even come up because it's being pressed down with
Expectation
holding
of
on
everybody
to
else.
and just that whole cycle of just nonsense of just I don't know, it seems so tough. It's such a hard place to be, I think, with you know, such a the struggle is real.
Well, that's because
right?
we grew up thinking
Right.
all that was acceptable, and now we're
Right.
saying you're asking me to throw out all of that behavior that is acceptable, and the answer is if it doesn't fit, is this what I want? Yes. If the answer is this what I want? No. See the difference? I mean, is this what I want? Yes. Well, then keep doing it. If the answer is this what I want? No. You know you're at a change point and you just need to step back a little bit and let it go and then sit down in a quiet place sometime. I mean, you'll start getting answers pretty unbelievably quick when you have the space like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Right.
And pretty
this is
soon,
just too hard.
Yeah, pretty soon your heart and your soul and the beingness around you just start to say, well, what do you want to do? Oh, well, gee, I didn't even know I had that choice.
Right.
Well, I don't want to participate in that because that just is a downer for me. And I don't want people thinking that I want to spend 15 or 20 minutes a day cutting people up. So then you just have to move away and start feeling your feelings, which will immensely help you say what you feel is okay for you and what is not okay anymore. Does that answer that?
Yeah, it's kind of
it's
iffy at first and kind of wobbly at first, and it's not really comfortable because we're comfortable in the chaos and then not in the calm. So, like one of the things you shared early on with me was like, it's either a hell yes or a hell no, right? And once you make that decision, like this is like hell yes working for me, or this is hell no, then you kind of can sit with that and make that decision, then you can let go. You know what I mean? So it seems like, does that, right? Is that what you would say? Like, is that easy? Is that easy for everyone to like understand? If it's not, we'll make another video, but it's more about just
coming to some kind of decision. And you might say, which we used a few minutes ago, well, I don't want to hurt everybody's feelings. Then go and say, I need 2 minutes to make these copies, but I have something on my desk. So there's always a graceful way of leaving and getting out while you're beginning to define that hell yes or hell no and how to put the car in reverse.
Right.
And it doesn't have to, you don't always have to think you're responsible when you change your mind, because that keeps people in a circular position with themselves. You get to change your mind. You get to make a decision. Life is free choice, free will. And if you're getting the same thing day after day and you're uptight or you feel emotionally drained, you're repeating what you don't want in your life. So you really need to sit down and go, I guess I need to think about what I want in my life. And that's totally different. What you want, you're going to find out doesn't match exactly what you have. So that's the beginning of the life that you live, is asking yourself what you want, because you are the one in charge of getting it.
Right.
We would love to gift you with it, but we can't. You know what? We can't even gift it to you if we wanted to, because without a yes.
Yep, without permission, right?
Without permission.
You always need permission, right? It's about ask and ye shall receive, but it's about you asking the questions. No one can do it for you, right? So it's the letting go is just learning to be easy with yourself sometimes, learning to step back, learning to change the subject, learning to give me 24 hours, right? Like, let me sleep on it, right? You start putting these parameters or these, I have policies within myself. You know, my policy is I need, a day to think about this. I don't want to be rushing around because I've made so many mistakes. It's just hurry, hurry, rush, right? And then I'm the one that's all over the place, not anyone else.
When you have the demands on you like that, stepping back and letting go is really important, because as our life evolves more and more, when we don't recognize that, we're saying yes to way too much and no to ourselves way too much. So, oh, you want me to come over and help you paint Saturday? Let me get back to you. Let me look at my schedule. And then the coolest thing is you can call them back and say, I can be there Saturday. I've got 2 hours. So have the job you want me to do ready. So you're actually including and sharing and changing, and all of that's working. But the biggest thing is you're taking care of yourself.
Yep.
So your kids might want you to do something different. Your boss might want you to say, well, what are the perimeters on this job? And I'll do what I can, but what's number one? Because your number one might not be your boss's number one. So if he gives you a date and a time, he or she give you a date or a time, have them walk you into what's first, because a lot of it is confusion. And you go off to your desk and go, oh, I'll put all these in order. And then all of a sudden it's the reverse order. So ask questions, just what's first. You don't have to say what's second, third, and fourth. The second will fall in place too. So asking the questions is a real comfortable way to get information from other people on how does this work if we're working together. Real comfortable way about how to get peace within yourself, like what's going on with me? And why do I feel this way? Body, soul, spirit, what's going on? I feel discombobulated. And ask why. And usually that answer will come pretty close to, well, I'm not going to say right away, because when we're all involved, it's hard to even hear ourselves. But if we step away for a little bit, you'll get the answer of your plate's too full, or you're running around so fast you don't even know what it would be. Take it easy. And you start to see why we get the mixed signals. And we live differently when we let go.
Yes.
And what we're doing is we're depending on our heart to say, overboard, plate too full, plate too full, stop. And they're real easy messages to understand. What's hard is listening.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes, the listening part.
It's the listening
even to yourself,
part.
Right?
Yeah.
Even in conversations, you notice sometimes you're like, oh, I'm not listening, but because you're already planning for the next thing instead of relaxing into it and allowing and letting go. So you really get the full connection and the full conversation.
Yes.
And the full understanding.
Right. So. Exactly. Yep. We know that our lives can't be in neutral unless we put ourselves in neutral, but we're not even asking that. We're just asking, slow it down a little bit, and then you'll hear the anxiety. You'll hear what's going on around you. And when you begin to listen to yourself, you're like, oh, now I do know, I don't have all the answers, but I sure do know a couple things I'm feeling, and I can identify them and ask a friend or get some help somewhere. Yeah.
And all the anxiety, is just about really not staying in the now and not listening to yourself. And if you just pulled it back, like and said, I'm just going to be in this moment. I don't have to worry about all this. A lot of times that dissipates,
Yeah.
So it's just really about being more gentle with yourself and honoring yourself and listening to yourself, and then doing your best, and the rest we just have to let go of.
Right.
So
temporarily, you can only do so much at a time.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that too, how to work your plate differently. If you feel like I have a full plate and I'm so anxious I'm ready to scream, or I can't do any of it. When the plate's so full, we do put ourselves in neutral.